So, welcome to the Redream the World in the Age of Aquarius retreat. This is Sasha from Venus Wisdom, and I am so delighted to have with us Anaiya Sophia, who is such a leader in the sacred feminine, in the resurrection of the feminine energy on the planet, and is going to be sharing with us today something called somatic body awakening, and specifically around the sacred marriage of the male and female body and soul. So welcome, Anaiya. I'm so delighted that you're with us here from France.
Yes. Hello, Sasha. Absolutely delightful to be here with you all.
I just want to read a little bit about you for people that don't know your work yet. So I will read your bio here. It's quite magnificent. And you have really created quite a ripple and it feels like everyone that I talk to that is doing embodiment work has come across your path and has been touched by you. So I love that. And I also love that you are in your wisdom years. I don't know exactly, your biological age, but this time that we have that usually happens in our late 40s or early 50s, where we have this Chiron return, is really a time to deepen into our wisdom and our wisdom teachings. And so it's very exciting that we have such a full range of presenters for this particular retreat, and I have special reverence for those that are coming into these wisdom years, and the deepening that happens with that.
Yes, I'm there, all right.
Yes. So your bio is Anaiya Sophia is a mystic, storyteller, and author of revelatory wisdom. She teaches workshops throughout the world and is best known for the creation of sacred body awakening. She carries an oral message that stirs the remembrance of a continuous lineage with the feminine principle that throughout the centuries has preserved its spiritual dignity without the need for permission or recognition from any other source. And then you have quite a few books that we'll make sure are listed, and so people can connect with your work and your books. And if there's anything that you want to reference on your own, please feel free. And I'll just also add that you live in the Cathar region of southern France with your beloved husband, Pete Wilson. And I'm not sure if this part has changed, because I know that you just had a change in your residence. So you were running this B&B and a permaculture project called Seeds of Wild Love at the base of Mont Segur. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Yeah.
That's it, yes.
Okay. And this property has a chapel on it called Notre Dame de Sophia, as well as a bookshop and cafe. Now, is that your new residence, or is that where you have just moved from?
No, this is the new one.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Wow.
this is the life's work.
Okay. So you had another property, and now I got to see on Facebook your transformation of one of the rooms, the living room. And wow,
Yeah.
I can just feel the energy there of what you're
Oh my
building, and the
gosh.
substance looks magnificent.
Absolutely. When you were talking about wisdom years, this is the project.
Mm,
This is it. You know, any kind of wisdom that I may have been tapping into, I feel was only to come to this place. And of course, to bring others here.
mhm.
Because there's wisdom that comes through a human channel, and then there's wisdom that comes through the land.
Yeah.
And this place is where it dwells deeply.
I love that. So you'll be doing events there, and people can come there and stay there and receive that transmission from the land.
Yes, yes. And I'd also like to invite others to do their events here,
Mm,
because
wow.
it's a real little sort of amphitheater of wisdom, of transformation, of grace.
Mm. I can feel it. I'm definitely putting that on my wish list. And seeds of wild love. Oh yes, oh yes. What a
Yeah, well,
name.
we thought that this sort of strapline really captured everything that Pete and I are doing. Everything is a seed,
Mhm.
and you know, it always comes with the intention of sprouting wild love in every possible direction,
Mm,
whether it's food, body, embodiment, relationships, spirit, it's everything.
yes, and in my view, that is so the medicine for these times. We're at such a crossroads of claiming more of our human potential and
Mm.
deepening into our naturalness, restoring our relationship with our bodies and the land and the feminine, or this other path that is about,
Yeah.
of course, more disembodiment and, you know, the ever increasing focus on the virtual reality and how
Yes.
that is also in the field here in this moment, which is what I'm calling the age of Aquarius. There's all different ideas about when that started, but it feels like we're certainly in a huge transformation that none of us
Absolutely.
have ever seen before.
No, no, no.
Mhm.
Yeah, completely. I know it is so palpable. It is so clear. These two worlds now, these two choices, these two paths. Um, yeah, to me, it's my goodness, it's become so solid and so tangible.
Mhm.
And we might have to make some very radical steps to really back up the choice we've made.
Mhm.
You know, which way are we going to go? Which way are we going to live?
Yes. Yeah, it's very interesting at these times that living in a natural way has almost become revolutionary, you know?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so this body awakening, this somatic connection, and
Mm.
especially the embodiment of the two primal energies within us. Um, can you speak more about how you came about creating this practice or this body of work? And then, of course, I'm going to be very excited for you to share a little bit more experientially. But how did this come to be, this somatic body awakening?
Well, I believe it's because I was so moved by Mary Magdalene, like we all are, so many of us are, that it wasn't just her persona and her gifts and her attributes and her priestessing skills. That wasn't enough. I really needed to know, what was she doing? What was she doing, and how was she doing it, and how long, and what materials? And you know,
Mm,
I needed to know those ins and outs of her actual hands-on work. And I could sort of see it all in my imagination, and it could have been my imagination, but I don't think so. Because after a certain while of just living alongside all of this imagery, I started to actually follow it word for word, point by point, no editing, no changing at all. I just managed to find a handful of friends who trusted me and were willing to go on this sort of exploratory journey together,
mhm,
because I said, I need to get this out.
mhm. Oh, I think maybe you cut out just a little bit right there at the end of that sentence. Are you still connected?
I'm back now. I'm
Okay,
sorry, I don't know quite what happened there.
that's okay. Yeah, so you had a handful of friends that really allowed you to move with this leadership you felt of duplicating this process.
Absolutely.
Mhm,
Absolutely.
mhm,
Um, and it was a very radical thing for me to do because it really was pure temple work. It was working intimately, profoundly with such love and care and naturalness with the body.
mm,
Such intimacy, more, if you like, than anything I'd ever experienced with a partner.
mm,
And here I am asking to just to see whether my dearest female friends would just be willing to go on this strange journey with me, because I couldn't help but feel that there was something very true to what was being shown in my imagination. And sure enough, there was some precious gift to be found in there. Very, very deep healing, a healing that healed all kinds of sisterhood or female based trauma and distrust and disappointments. The body opened to allow that kind of incoherent agitation to just come to the surface. And, we didn't even know we were carrying it.
mm,
But only that level of trust and love and care and sort of impeccability in the quality of our presence together, whilst being extremely intimate. Um, this was the perfect cocktail that just opened all of that stuff up. And
wow.
it was ranging from infantile to, imagining being a much, much older lady close to the edges of death.
Mhm,
It
mhm.
incorporated everything. And that's where I knew I'm not making this stuff up. This is a priestess line,
Mm,
and Mary was part of this.
mhm. Yeah, you've really tapped into something. It sounds like through your own intuition, through your own body, you had this awakening to this lineage and were able to trace it um, through that deeper knowing.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Wow. And how long have you been in this unfolding relationship with the somatic body awakening process?
All of this began in 2015
Mhm.
because I was on the Mount of Beatitudes in the Holy Land when it happened. And I really was praying for this apostolic uh, wisdom teaching. So, apostolic means, coming from an apostolic line means it would have come from the original disciples or the original apostles. And this transmission, this story, this oral technique would have been passed on person to person,
Mhm.
or in Mary's case, hand to hand, touch to touch.
Mhm.
So I was really feverishly praying that something of that level could possibly one day cross my path. A pure line going all the way back to her.
Beautiful. And so there's that devotion,
Mm,
and that calling out, in in Buddhism that's spoke of as the hook and the lasso, it's
mm,
like when we're just calling out and longing, it makes us available in a new way uh,
yes,
for us to connect with those higher spiritual realms that are
yes,
here in all the time and yet not necessarily accessible all the time without some kind of real openness and that devotion. I'm feeling it so strongly as you're speaking, and that's a
yes,
very feminine path, a path of devotion.
yes, yes, yes.
And so then you began to teach this to others and guide people into the somatic body awakening. And that sounds like that created a lot of healing in people's being that maybe they didn't
Yes.
necessarily even know that they needed, but it arose. And so what is it that do you continue to teach in small groups? Do you do more one-on-one, or is this, if we were to dive into these delightful books that you've written, are you writing more about the process there?
Well, with the work of Sacred Body, yes, I'm sort of in this position of teaching how to, but every single time I gather with others, something new gets revealed. So it's like, it's not finished yet, it's not complete. It is forever deepening and shifting and revealing more. Um, Especially with the different sort of dynamics. At the beginning, it was just women only. And then men started to come in and be involved. And now there is a male, what's the word I call it? Oh gosh, can't remember the word. Like a male dynamic that allows a female to experience two males taking her through this sacred body.
Mm,
And now I feel with this house I've just purchased, now it's time for the younger people. And I have to be careful what I say when I say younger people,
mm,
because I am referring to young adults.
yes.
And of course, that's a very fine line to be treading. But it's only because the mothers have said to me,
Mm,
please, oh, please make this available to my young son, to my young daughter,
mhm,
catching them during that sort of 13, 14, 15-year-old phase of life
mhm,
before they get educated
yeah,
by, as you say, the online world,
mhm, right.
or their own peers, but to actually introduce them to the delicateness, the sacredness, the the preciousness, and also the power within their own bodies.
Mhm,
So yeah, I think Sacred Body Awakening is
mm.
going to, well, perhaps I'll call it something like the School of Love.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so it's sounds like a rite of passage essentially into their own power. That is one of the big heartbreaks for me as a mother of a teen, that these rites of passage don't exist so much in this culture. We have to be very deliberate to find them, and um,
Yes.
that they so need that. They so need to know their own power on many levels. And so this deeper body level, um, I could imagine would be incredibly supportive for a young person.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Well, it would include everything really, the art of listening, clarity, even speaking through issues with girlfriends, with boyfriends, the kind of traps to look out for and how to surpass. So
Mm,
be everything really, like a real education into sacred, sensual relating.
mm, wonderful. And what an antidote to the the current reality where so many are initiated through pornography, so many of
Yes.
this generation. It's just been so hard to for parents, even with the best intentions, to protect their minds from being exposed to that. And so for many, that has been the orientation. And so this is a you know completely different way to
Mm,
experience true intimacy
mm,
with another being. So I'm
yes.
completely intrigued. I was intrigued before, but now I'm even more intrigued with, what this body of work is, and the implications right now just feel huge, for what
Mm.
the world needs.
I'm super excited as well. I've never worked with young people before, but I don't really have too much to go on yet, but
Mhm.
I do have a sense of dance. I have a sense of fragrance.
Mhm.
I have a sense of how to charm, how to delight.
Mhm.
Um, and, all of this just sounds like great fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And to be in, and if you're able to share that on the land, then there's that whole layer too, that there's the transmission happening from being in this sacred place that wouldn't necessarily happen if they're in the city or in another place. So
Yes.
um,
Yes.
that's what's very special. That's very
Yeah.
special.
It's very interesting because this house used to be a summer colony, like a holiday school
Mm.
for children in the area, and it was run by the Catholic Church.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's actually built for children.
Oh, interesting.
And I'm thinking, wow, the curriculum will be slightly different.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But
Wow.
still,
Interesting.
that prayer will be there, sacredness will be there, holiness and joy and gardening and all of that good stuff. That will still be there. But we're coming into contact with the subject from another direction.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Yes. Yeah. Wow. That's potent. That's very potent. And it can change everything, when a young person has a powerful experience at that time in their life stage. It can really set the path for the rest of their life. So this is,
yes.
this is amazing. This is amazing. And do you feel like you want to lead us in a little taste of, what this work is about from an experiential level? Would that be
Yes.
something we could do?
I can share with you one of my very strong visions that just kept enticing me to inquire deeper.
Mhm.
How does that sound?
Sounds wonderful.
Okay, so my dearest friends, I invite you to just close your eyes and see if you recognize where I am. So we begin walking barefoot on a desert floor. We're tired, we're hungry. We've been walking days, maybe weeks. We're thirsty, we're alone, we're isolated. We feel quite bedraggled, torn, weary, exhausted. We look out in front of us and we're certain it's just a mirage. It's just another intoxicated heat wave. But we see this beautiful white building up ahead and we just push it aside. We don't really believe what we're seeing. But then we start to hear laughter, playfulness, the sounds of life. And now we're not so sure whether it is a mirage or not. Because now little children are approaching us. Girls, 2, 3 of them. And they're extending their hands and beckoning us to come forward. They take our hands and say, "Come on, ma'am, come on. Walk with us, lady. We know where you want to go." And they take us to this beautiful white building. And there's about 4 or 5 steps that lead to this ornate entranceway with pillars and swaying swathes of chiffon and the most amazing smells of rose and myrrh and maybe frankincense. We have no idea where we are, but we are so gladdened to be walking up these steps. The little girls continue to sit on the bottom step, and a beautiful young woman, perhaps in her 20s, steps through the chiffons and again takes us by the hand as if expecting us. She is the epitome of Venus. She is so deliciously in her prime, such extravagant and exotic beauty, and with it this sense of warm welcome and genuine care. She takes us into the temple and into a room that is steaming and hot. We realize that it's a place of a sunken bath. And with her deliciousness, she begins to very carefully disrobe us from our tattered and dirty dress and sandals. She removes everything until we are standing there naked, and she takes us down one step after the other into this warm, fragrance, salted, filled with herbs and flowers, water, hot, easing all the stress and tension and dirt that's been picked up on our skin. Silently, no talking, in beautiful slow motion, she bathes us and washes us. But it's more than just washing. We know that she is getting in deeper than the surface of our skin and actually dislodging all kinds of pains and sorrows that we've carried inside our body. She washes our hair, and with the most skilled touch seems to just pull tension from our muscles. After a while, she leads us back up the steps, where she carefully dries us off, anointing us at the temples, sides of the neck, just under the nose and the forehead, with pure jasmine oil. And then she takes us deeper into the temple, where it is now dark and warm and fragrant, with a scent now that is quite different from rose and jasmine. It is now spikenard, galbanum, the really pungent oils used by only the high priestess. In this darkened room, she exchanges her young hand for an older female hand. Someone with great knowing and wisdom, who guides us to some kind of central fire and invites us to lie down, where other ancient mothers join with us and take us on a full and vigorous journey to remove all kinds of indiscrepancies and trauma and pain and sorrow and isolation and separation and things that we don't have names for yet. Surrendering completely to these hands of gnosis and wisdom and healing and peace. It cannot be described what these women do. All I know is that I was reborn again by the hands of the feminine, from girl to woman to ancient mother. And then I left the temple, wearing a different dress, walking in a different way, heart wide open, soul radiating, eager to spread the news that the temple has returned. And that journey is a taster of the kinds of presences that I serve with everything that I can.
So beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. Really gorgeous.
That's the kind of things that fill my head.
Yeah. Yes. What a transmission. Feel so deeply the nourishment
Mm.
of the feminine in all of its different forms. Thank you for
Mm.
sharing your world with us.
Well, towards the end of retreats, this is what we reenact. So we actually really do exactly that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Wonderful.
that's when, oh my goodness. And the men are involved in this as well. They go through that process.
Mhm.
They get met by that little girl, to then meet that gorgeous young woman, to then surrender to the hands of the ancient mother.
Mhm.
And they begin their journey filled with ideas of what they think they're going to receive.
Mhm.
And of course, they cannot speak afterwards.
Mm.
They cannot speak afterwards, but there are tears of gratitude rolling down their cheeks.
Mhm. Oh, wonderful. What a gift. What a gift. Yeah. You're living this gift and sharing it. It's exquisite.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. So how will people be connected to your work if they want to know more about what's unfolding? It sounds like you're in a process there of really inhabiting the house and the space and beginning to breathe life into this
Yes.
vision. And so how do they get connected to you if they want to stay tuned?
Well, if you just put my name, Anaiya Sophia, into any of the search engines, you'll find the website.
Mhm.
We will be opening on the 1st of May, Beltane.
Oh, wow.
I will be doing online work as well as obviously in person at the house. I do monthly love letters, so everybody can stay totally up to date with what's unfolding. But
Mm,
yes, this house is where this vision gets grounded.
mhm, mhm. Yes,
Yeah.
I feel that. How How incredible. I can feel it's like a life dream coming true, feels like that
Yes,
energy around it. Yeah. Yeah.
yes, yes.
Cool.
Certainly feels that way.
Well, thank you so much for sharing some of your vision with us. And I'm sure lots of people will want to tune in and see how this unfolds. And I just feel so much more settled in my being after listening to you and receiving this vision, and both enlivened and relaxed at the same time. So just
Yeah.
thank you for that taste.
Thank you, Sasha.
All right. Well, take good care of yourself and good luck with all the work. I'm sure it's a lot of work to get everything ready. And just really appreciate what you're doing in the world at this powerful time. It feels like at this time, everything that we do has more impact and ripples further than it ever has before. So
Yes,
may your
yes.
blessings ripple far.
Thank you, Sasha. God bless you too.
Thank you, Anaiya.